Hey guys, we are back with some more Vegas Golden Knights Eastside Hockey Manager. And at this one, before we get started with the simulation, one thing I do want to do is get Alan Lazzaro going, as he is the only skater currently dressed on the team who does not have a average rating of 7 or above. He is at a 684, and while that's not terrible, it's still slightly below where I want him to be. I want to see improvement on Alan Lazzaro, and he has improved so far every year besides this one. He's started at a 6 with the 3 games played there in 2019, 2020, and then the next year, 655, so he definitely got better, but then a 683, so he got better last year, but now this year he seems a little stagnant, 684. So what we're going to do, since the rest of his teammates are playing very well, they are above, pretty much all of them are above a 7, the ones who are dressed anyway. I'm going to set the personal tactics for Alan Lazzaro. So, 3 tactics that we're going to set here. One thing we're going to do is set his mentality to very offensive, because if you take a look at Alan Lazzaro, his poke check and his positioning are not good at all. So his main focus has got to be offense. Creativity is at a 90, anticipation 82. Off the puck is at a 99. His slap shot isn't half bad. His passing's at a 76. So I want Alan Lazzaro to be very offensive here. And another thing that we're going to increase is his passing, and we're going to set it to creative, because as you take a look, even though his passing's at a 76, his creativity's at a 90. So I really want him to be creative with the puck, see if he can get some extra offense going that way. And another thing we're going to do for Lazzaro is set dump the puck to very often, because as you take a look, his speed's at a 52. So he's actually one of the slowest skaters on the team. Even though he's only 23, he should be, he's young. He should have the legs, but he doesn't. Since his speed is at a 52, he's going to be the one on his line to be dumping the puck in. Whereas his line mates, Stefan Larsson, who has a 99 speed, and Waltteri Lappalainen, who is at an 82 speed, can be the ones who chase the puck for that line. So we're actually going to set these two for dumping the puck to rarely, especially for Stefan Larsson, who's at a 99 for speed. He can really make something happen with that, and then we'll set it to rarely for Waltteri Lappalainen, who has an 82. So hopefully that will work for Alan Lazzaro, because I really want to get him going. Based on his attributes, he's a phenomenal player. He really is, but he's just not simulating like it right now, and he's young. I really want to get him going while he's on this $1.2 million contract. So by the time that it's over, we can say that we'll be able to re-sign him and feel good about it. So let's get going with this simulation. So that'll be it for this. Hopefully that gets Alan Lazzaro going. Let's start the simulation and get into January and maybe to the trade deadline today. I'm not sure. But that would require roughly 3 months of simulation, so we're going to have to really go fast here. So there's a 3-2 victory over the Penguins. There you go. All right, so we're going to keep a close eye here on Alan Lazzaro. So actually, I probably should have checked his stats beforehand, but he's currently at a 685. So what was that before? 684. So he, improved a little bit. He, in that last game, had a 7 average rating, didn't have any goals or assists, but that's fine. As long as he can stay consistent with what his average rating should be, and that's going to be at a 7 for me for right now, while he's improving. So he's at 2 goals, 11 assists, 13 points. Okay, we need to keep an eye on that. And then what was his plus minus? Plus 12. Okay. So going to remember those numbers and hope that everything works out for Alan Lazzaro. And actually is, yes, Reimer's in net. Does he need a break? Yes, he does. So we'll put Subban in there, and we will get going with the simulation. Jets, 4-3 win in overtime. There you go. All right. Flames with a 5-3 win over the Blackhawks. Game on the 5th against the Colorado Avalanche, and they have a 5-1 win over the Wild just now, so they're going into this game with a little bit of confidence, but they are playing a back-to-back, so we have the advantage there. And it is going to be a 4-3 win for your Vegas Golden Knights. All right, so I'm not going to check Alan Lazzaro's stats after every game, obviously, because it's just, that's going to slow down the simulation even more than it already is kind of slowed down. So we'll check it maybe once every 2 weeks or so, just to keep touch base with him every once in a while. Carl Four is out for 10 days with a groin strain. That's not good. He is one of our best scorers. He's at 12 goals already in 28 games. So we're going to have to dress Rasmus Kupari and not have him on the second line. So who's going to move up here? Oh, this is interesting. Because I feel like Lazzaro should have some consistency with being with Lapalainen and Larson. Just being that they complement each other well. So I think I'm going to give the second line to Svetlov. He's been pretty solid so far this season. 16 points in 24 games played, 8 goals, 8 assists, 713 average rating, +3. So we'll try him there. We're not going to keep him there, obviously, because once Forrest gets back, he will move back down to the fourth line. But it's still good to experiment with him on the second line because he's looking like a pretty talented player. So who's going to go on this power play unit now in place of him? Panarin, Veleno, Smith, Thompson, Svetlov. Lazzaro's on the point already. We'll try... Smith's on there. Silverberg isn't good at faceoffs, but you know what I'll do? I'll put Silverberg here, and then I'll swap him with Lazzaro, so he'll be on the point. All right, there you go. And then we need someone for the even strength. We'll put Lapalainen in there with Silverberg. All right, there you go. How many games has Subban had now? 2? I'll give him a few more because Reimer played quite a few in a row there. Game against the Predators, very nice 2-1 victory. And not to mention that Subban is doing very well himself. So we're going to give him a few more starts here, basically until he has a bad game. Because we'll just roll with whatever goaltender is hot at the moment. That's the kind of team that we have. We just need to ride the hot hand. Career milestone for Lapalainen, 100th NHL game against the Predators. Game against the Bruins, they're in second in the East, and we win 7-3. I'm going to see the box score here. York, Lazzaro, there you go. And Lazzaro with an assist as well. There you go. Larson, Kupari, Lazzaro again. My goodness. Panarin and Riley Smith. So maybe those changes are working out for Lazzaro pretty well. We'll definitely check out his stats roughly halfway through December, which should be in a few days here. As the Canadians with a 5-1 win over the Avalanche. Game against the Capitals, we have a 4-1 loss. Okay, so I'm going to get Mr. James Reimer back in the starting position. And it turns out Artemi Panarin is also out for 10 days with the groin strain. That is unfortunate, the amount of groin strains we've been getting recently. So Zach Smith, I suppose, get in there. Man, our lineup is starting to really hurt there. So we're going to get Reiko Polkinen up to the first line here. And then, you know what? Thompson's been doing well on the fourth line as well. 745 average rating, 19 points in 31 games. We'll get him on the second line with his line mate Svetlov. So that would be Smith, Kupari, and Polkinen on the fourth line now. And then Thompson, Svetlov, and Silverberg on the second line. So have a lot of shakeups here. And then Reiko on the first line with Veleno and Riley Smith. So hopefully that works out. Going to continue the simulation here. Yep, Panarin injured, we just saw, unfortunately. Hopefully he gets back soon. He should be back before the Christmas break. Well, actually, sometimes there, for some reason, is games on Christmas in this game, so it's not really a break. But what should be the Christmas break. Yeah, the roster freeze is what I guess I meant there. And a game against the Blue Jackets, we lose in overtime, and it's going to be, goes by Reiko, York, and Riley Smith. So, good effort, but, you know, it's still an overtime loss, but at least, you know, we're in a position where we can afford an overtime loss here and there. We are way ahead, I'm pretty sure, of everyone else in the league, so we can afford one of those once in a while. And, you know, I would obviously rather take an overtime loss or a shootout loss over a regulation loss, so that is fine with me every once in a while, as long as it doesn't become a consistent pattern. So game against the Islanders, oh, that should have been a regulation win, but that is going to be a shootout loss once again. So speaking of getting into patterns of things, I'm not liking the pattern I'm seeing at the moment. That's 2 extra time losses in a row. Let's see the scores here. Teemu Polkinen and Svetlov, and then Lapalainen. Teemu Polkinen again. Teemu Polkinen with the hat trick. Not that I'm surprised, but Polkinen, the fourth liner, getting it done as usual. So Force is back. We will get him in. Take him off the IR. And we will... Who's performing bad here? Rasmus Kupari. Okay, so take him out. Get Fours in. Fours in. And then put Svetlov on the fourth line. Lazzaro back on the point for the power play. And there you go. All right, so actually we're roughly halfway through December now. So we'll check on... What's his name? Lazzaro. He's at a 697 now. Okay. He's doing a much better job. The past couple of games haven't been great for him. He's at an average rating of 6. But really, ever since we changed that, the first game of this episode was Pittsburgh. He hasn't really had too much of a problem, other than those 2 games right there. And again, those were games where... So really cannot complain from Alan Lazzaro as of recent. So let's just keep simulating. Game against the Devils. That is going to be a 7-3 loss. Man, we're really hurting without Panarin here. Larson, Lapalainen, and Brandstrom. And then Riley Smith from Reiko Polkanen and Veleno. And then Lapalainen from Larson and Krug are the goals for your Vegas Golden Knights. But the Devils score 7 to win in a convincing fashion there. So on a little bit of a losing streak here. And unfortunately, Cam York... injured for 10 days with bruised ribs, but it is day-to-day, but I don't want him playing with bruised ribs, so I'll put him on the 7-day IR. Man, that is unfortunate. The amount of injuries we've been getting, I mean, I'm not surprised, just given it that it's this game, but just unfortunate amount of injuries here. So that'll put Jet Wu in here for the first time this season. We'll get Theodore up there with Miller, and then Wu in with Brandstrom. Now, who's going to go on the power play? Krug, Brandstrom, Lazzaro on the point. I'll get... You know what? Theodore's been good offensively, so I'll put him there. I'll put him here as well. And there you go. Actually, is how many games has Reimer played? Only 3. Okay, yeah, he can go much longer. Game against the Rangers coming up on the 20th. 4-3 win for the Devils over the Maple Leafs. A 5-2 win for the Predators over the Avalanche. Panarin resumes practice. Okay, getting him back in immediately. We need him, so get in there, and we will take out Svetlov. Hasn't been great recently, but you can make the argument that he was on the second line for a good chunk of that time. So I'm gonna take out Zach Smith here because again he's not someone who's a part of the future here, so we're gonna be scratching him in favor of Panarin. As Panarin, you can't really deny putting him in the lineup once he's healthy. So back to the first line with Veleno you go. And then Reiko with Fours and Silverberg. This all looks good. We are back to the way we were for the most part, except we are out without Cam York at the moment, who has bruised ribs. So we are going to continue simulating against the Rangers. There you go, 4-1 win. And Panarin scores in his return. And then Thompson and Reiko Polkanen twice. And Lazzaro gets a couple assists in there as well. So he's been playing very well for the most part, besides those past 3 games against Columbus, the Islanders, and the Devils. But then again, pretty much our entire team didn't play well in those 3 games, so you can't really single him out. So I'm happy for the progress that Alan Lazzaro has been making so far. So hopefully he can keep that up through the rest of the year. Roster freeze. All right, so we cannot make any transactions, at least not in terms of trades or free agent signings, I don't believe, until the 28th. So going to have to hope that we don't get any major injuries between now and then. Rangers with a 4-3 win over the Senators. 5-1 win for the Hurricanes over the Red Wings. And a game here against the Dallas Stars. It's going to be a 6-3 loss. And no, I did not mean to go into play-by-play. I meant to go to the box score. Lapalainen from Larson and Larson. That feels weird to say. Thompson from Miller. And then Svetlov from Thompson and Teemu Polkanen. All right, so the fourth line, I mean, OP as usual. 2-1 win for the Penguins over the Kings. 4-3 win for the Rangers over the Canadiens. And Christmas, yep, we have a game on Christmas this year against the Anaheim Ducks. So let's view this one. And they're in 14th, so this should be a easy win here, as it is. Goal by Carl Force from Reiko Polkanen and Adam Larson. And then Veleno from Panarin and Smith. And then Reiko Polkanen from Larson and Wu. There you go. So getting back in the winning column are your Vegas Golden Knights against the Anaheim Ducks, who are absolutely terrible. It's 12-21-1, I think I saw. So Larson accused of complicity. Oh, okay, that's not our Larson. Good. Good. You never like to see those messages. So game against the Edmonton Oilers here on the 27th. Bunch of news messages there. And a 4-2 victory against them. Panarin, Forrest, and Svetlov with the goals. All right. So we're doing much better as of recent. Obviously had a little bit of a slide there in the middle of December, but we're getting back on track. You know, we had a few unfortunate injuries, and actually, that reminds me. Let's see if Cam York is back, as that would help us tremendously. And as I say it, yep, he is now back and ready to go. So we'll get him off IR. And who are we scratching? I guess that'd be Wu. Colin Miller. 692 he has dropped to as of recent. He's been solid in the past few games, though. 7-7, 7-7, +2, +1. Yeah, I don't think I want to take Miller out. I mean, Jet Wu, though. 750 in 4 games. 1 assist. What's he done? Oh, man. He's been playing pretty good. He had +3 there in his 12 minutes of ice time against the Rangers as well. But you know what? Colin Miller is the much more experienced guy. I have a feeling he's going to be able to bounce back. So we're going to scratch Jet Wu for right now. But obviously he's been playing phenomenal. So I have no problem getting him back in there if need be. So we'll get York back in. Take Theodore for the power play. And that'll be it. Let's keep going. December 30th against the Flames. 4-3 win for the Panthers over the Bruins. 5-2 win for the Capitals over the Maple Leafs. And game against the Flames. This will be a 5-2 victory. There you go. Panarin, Lapalainen, Thompson, Timo Pulkkinen, and Thompson once again with the goals. And Lazzaro with a couple assists there as well. So, I mean, coaching genius is your GM as well. So, if these changes for Alan Lazzaro can work long term, I look like a genius. Plain and simple. Because he's hasn't been a very good simulator for the entirety that he's been here so far. But now that he's actually playing very well, this could be, we could be seeing the start of the rise of Alan Lazzaro here. So a bunch of staff contracts expiring here. So I'm actually going to take care of that now, as I don't like leaving those alone. So yeah, quite a few here. Marcinetti, yeah, he's good. We'll re-sign him. Les Whitfield, yep. Ben Scrivens, yep, definitely. Barclay Parneda, yep, definitely have to sign him. Then Wojtek Kusera, yep, we'll sign him as well. Mike Kelly, assistant coach. Ooh, his stats are kind of brutal. I'll wait on him just for right now. Gus Badali, yep, definitely re-signing him. He is a scout. And then Peter Ahola, I'll hold off on him as well. I don't like his attributes as a scout there. So, going into January here against the Coyotes. So for right now, we'll stop for a moment to take a look at the stats and the players of the month. So player of the month is Sidney Crosby. Rookie of the month is Lucas Dostal of the Capitals. Offensive player of the month is Sidney Crosby. And defensive player of the month is Evan Cowley of the Predators. And then this is the All-Stars weekend coming up soon as well in 1 week. So hopefully we see who gets to the All-Star game here. I wouldn't imagine that Panarin, Veleno, or Riley Smith would be denied of that. But let's take a look at everyone's stats here. So we'll start with goaltenders. What am I looking for? Oh, geez, the stats in the wrong window. So average rating of 724 for Jim Reimer, 893 save percentage, and then for Malcolm Subban, 687 average rating and 876 save percentage. So Subban definitely could be doing better, but he has 9 wins under his belt, so that's the most important thing for us at this point with how good our team is for the most part. Defensemen, really not too much to complain about. York at a 754 average rating, Krug 751, Jet Wu in the 4 games that he's played 750, Eric Brandstrom was 731, Shea Theodore 713, Adam Larson 710, and then Colin Miller is the only slight concern at a 695, but even that is it's acceptable. I mean, I don't love it. I don't love to see a 6 on there, but it's close enough to 7 where it's not that big of a deal. And then point scoring wise, we seem to be pretty spread out here in terms of the defensive point scoring. Torrey Krug with 19 points, same with Cam York. Shea Theodore with 18, Eric Bronstrom with 16, Larson with 15, and then Miller with 13, and then Wu with 1. So, seems, again, very spread out here in terms of the point scoring for the defense. So, I mean, that's pretty good. As long as they all keep getting points, or unless someone takes over, then I really could care less who does all the point scoring. 16 assists for Bronstrom, Krug, and Theodore. 14 for Larson, and then 13 for York and Miller. So, yeah, very spread out. Cam York with 6 goals, 3 for Krug, 2 for Theodore, and 1 for Larson. And then forwards, average ratings, we have Artemi Panarin with a 786, Reichel Pokinen with a 779, Riley Smith with a 774, Waltteri Lappalainen with a 767, Stefan Larson with a 754, Joe Veleno with a 754 as well, Aiden Thompson with a 738, Teemu Pokinen with a 736, Jacob Silverberg with a 728, then Carl Forrest with a 721, Alan Lazzaro with a 7 average rating for the first time in his career. There you go. That is what I'm talking about. We have gotten Alan Lazzaro going, I think, at this point, boys. We've found what gets him going. He needs to dump the puck, he needs to be creative with his passes, and he needs to have an offensive mentality. We got to remember that for the future. But hopefully, you know, he can keep doing what he's been doing over the past month or so. And then Zach Smith in 2 games, a 7 average rating. Svetlov with a 689 average rating. Not too much to complain about. I mean, it is his rookie season, but he was doing much better toward the start of the season. But I guess that's going to happen for a rookie, especially for a European rookie who are not used to playing as many games in the NHL as they do in Europe. And then Rasmus Kupari in 9 games with a 678. So I might actually send him back to the AHL because he has not exactly been impressive here. And we always have Zach Smith as a backup. I mean, he's got 6 points in 9 games, but I don't know. I think he still has some work to do. So I'm going to send him to the AHL for right now. So we'll leave Zach Smith as our extra skater in terms of forwards. In terms of points, Riley Smith with 42, Panarin and Veleno with 40, Reichel Pokinen with 30, Stefan Larson with 29, same with Teemu Pokinen, Waltteri Lappalainen with 26, Forrest and Thompson with 25, Lazzaro with 24, Svetlov with 22, Silverberg with 19, and Smith with 2. And then assists, Riley Smith, got to specify now. Riley Smith leads with 26 assists. And then in goals, Artemi Panarin leads with 22. And then plus minus, Reichel Pokinen leads with a plus 19. And then shots on goal, Panarin and Riley Smith are tied with 116 shooting percentage. Waltteri Lappalainen has the highest with the 22.1 on 68 shots. And then Artemi Panarin has the highest shooting percentage of skaters with at least 100 shots with 19. So that'll be about it for that. All right, so we're back. I had to stop out for about an hour since that last clip. But here what I wanted to do is do the same thing with Svetlov as we did with Lazzaro at the start of the video. He's been struggling a little bit as of recent, and I do want to set him up for success. He did have 2 assists in that last game, but I want to set him up for long-term success here. So we're going to go into his personal tactics and do the same thing that we did for Lazzaro, because he's more or less the same kind of player as Lazzaro is. Yeah, not great positionally or with his poke checks, but he's got a pretty decent off-the-puck rating, deking, anticipation, work rate. He's got most of what he needs, and he also has speed as well. That's the difference between him and Lazzaro. So what I'm going to do for him is, instead of dumping the puck, I am going to put his passing up to creative, since he does have a creativity rating of 84 and pretty much the same passing rating as Lazzaro. And then another thing I'll do is put his mentality up to offensive. So we'll see what that does for him. Hopefully something good, as it did with Lazzaro for this past month. So we're going to continue the simulation here, and we're going to go pretty fast through it because I really want to get to the trade. I want to try anyway to get to the trade deadline in this video. And at least on the recording, I'm already almost a half hour through. So I do want to sort of just fly through here, have as little interruptions as possible. Obviously, injuries are going to happen and all that, but and do all the micromanaging things with switching out the goaltenders and stuff like that, and of course, scouting right here. But for the most part, I want it to just sort of fly through it. so we won't even really read out all of the goals as we usually do. Just gonna try to get done. So where is Chicago here? We are on the 6th page, I believe. Nope. 7th? Yep, there you are. And then on Scrivens, I believe, yeah, he was scouting the Golden Knights, so we'll just send him back out to the Golden Knights once again. And that is it for scouts. So we will keep going unless I need to switch out the goaltenders here. Subban was the last time he played. He played a few games ago, but Reimer's started a lot in a row. So I'll give Subban the start for the game against the Canucks. And the first wasn't exactly a great game for Reimer either, so it's good to give him a break here. Giordano has his number retired by the Flames. Interesting. You don't see that too often in this game. 5-2 victory against the Canucks. There you go. Again, just going to fly through this. Presuming that we're consistently winning games, just going to fly through because we really want to try to get to the trade deadline in this video. But again, that's not until February 23rd. That's quite a ways away. And with how slow the simulation can be sometimes in this game, all the little micromanaging stuff needs to be kept at a minimum. So there's a 4-3 loss to the Sharks, unfortunately. But luckily, we're not competing with the Sharks at the moment. They're in the 11th. And they were ways away from our records, so we don't have to worry about that too much. But I prefer not to get too many losses in a row, as then we're going to have to stop and edit the lines, and then we're not going to be able to get to the trade deadline, and it's just going, oh my goodness. Speaking of which, I lost to the Blues, who are in 9th, 20-20-1, and we lose 4-1 to them. So if we get one more loss here, I'm going to have to go into lines and change something, because it's, you never like to see that. And unfortunately, we have a very, well, maybe fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, we have a very long break here against the Oilers. So maybe, you know what, that's maybe what the doctor ordered for your Vegas Golden Knights, who are on a 2-game losing streak. So we can sort of regroup and get things together for the 15th against the Oilers. All right, game against the Oilers. Here we go. There you go. 4-2 win against the Oilers. I mean, I would hope we win against the Oilers. Oh my goodness. Edmonton, what are you doing? 10-33-2. Will the Oilers ever be good? I think that's the $1 million question for this entire GM mode. And they still have McDavid. How do you do that, Edmonton? My goodness. And your Vegas Golden Knights are now 39-5 on the season, so that's good for us. We haven't even gotten to 10 regulation losses yet. And the Edmonton Oilers, in comparison, have not gotten past 10 regulation wins. Jeez. So game against the Ducks, there is another solid 5-0 victory against them. So we're just kind of on automatic at this point. I know we had that losing streak earlier, but I guess we just needed sort of a break. And we got that break with the week that was in between then and the Oilers game. And we're now back on track to where we were before. Though it is a few days until our next game here against I believe I saw the Flyers. Yeah, the Flyers on the 20th. So hopefully we can keep our momentum going here against the Flyers. Let's see what happens. Yep, there you go. 4-2 victory. Again, flying through this. And it actually is Subban starting at the moment? Because if he is, I'll leave him in there. Yeah, he is. So we'll leave him in there until he cools off. Again, got to ride the hot hand here. Game against the Islanders. And we won't even check the stats, honestly, until the trade deadline, because we just, again, have to sort of get through to the trade deadline here. And as long as we're winning games, I could care less who's doing the scoring, you know. So there you go. 6-4 win against the Islanders. Again, that should be a given win there. I mean, they're in 16th in the East. Game against Coyotes, 5-2 victory. All right, I think we're officially on automatic for the rest of the regular season, unless we get a huge injury here. Game against the Sharks, 5-1 victory. Yeah, that was against the Sharks, so we have been facing some pretty bad teams lately. But I think we're at that point now where we're pretty solid. I'm just going to check for injuries. Nope, we have no injuries. That is always good to know. So we will continue on with the simulation, though I don't believe we have any more games this month. Our next game is, I believe I saw February 1st. Yeah, February 1st against the Wild. And the player of the month is Sidney Crosby. Rookie of the month is Aiden Thompson of your Vegas Golden Knights. 5 goals and 6 assists in 10 games. Very nice. Offensive player of the month, Sidney Crosby. Defensive player of the month, Malcolm Subban. Our backup goaltender has played 9 games this month with 1 shutout and 8 wins. Very nice. So glad we got him back. Silverberg rumor, absolutely not. Not moving anyone at this point in the season. 3-2 loss to the Wild. So maybe that break hurt us a little bit there. So that was unfortunate, but as long as we come back here against the Blues, we should be fine. More confidence update, they're delighted. I mean, with our record, I would imagine. Game against the Blues, let's see, 4-2 win against them. We're now 36-10-5 on the season. So there you go. I mean, not too much to complain about at the moment, so we'll just keep going up until the trade deadline, at which point we will stop the simulation, check all the stats, and end off the video, just in case we do need to make any moves. But I don't think so. 4-3 loss, as I say that, of course, to the LA Kings, who are 24-24-4. So not too good there. But, again, as long as we don't do that too much, we should still be in a good spot by the trade deadline. I mean, there's only a handful of games between now and then, so, I mean, that's, 2 weeks away? Yeah, roughly. So, how many games is that? That's 1, 2, 6, 8. That's 8 games from now is the trade deadline. So if we can win 6 of those, I say we'll be fine. We'll be fine if we can do that. So a 4-0 win for the Capitals over the Rangers. And against the Canucks, we have a 5-2 victory. There you go. There's win number 1 out of 6. That is recommended out of this next stretch of 8 games. So the Blue Jackets with a 3-2 win over the Sharks, a 3-2 win for the Kings over the Predators, and a game against the Lightning here, and we lose 5-2. So there's 1 loss. We can afford 2 on this stretch, I would say. So if we get 1 more loss, then I would hope we get wins the rest of the way. There's a win against the Buffalo Sabres. Okay, so 2 out of 3 so far are your Vegas Golden Knights in the stretch before the trade deadline. 5-1 win for the Oilers over the Ducks. That is rare for them. 16-38-3. Jeez. A 4-2 win for the Avalanche over the Kings. A 5-2 win for the Red Wings over the Sabres. And a game against the Capitals. 4-3 loss in overtime, though. So we got a point out of it. So do I count that as a loss? I mean, we did still get a point. So it didn't hurt us too much, especially since it was against an Eastern Conference team. So I can't really complain too much. Game against the Flyers here, 4-2 loss. So there is a second regulation loss in this past stretch. So hopefully we can win the rest of the games to the trade deadline. And Red Wings are hoping to acquire Panarin. Absolutely not. We've seen how we perform without him. And I mean, we're not terrible, but, it's kind of marginal. So game against the Canadiens. Oh, that's a rough loss, especially against the 15th place team in the Eastern Conference. So definitely not winning as many games as I hoped we would leading up to the trade deadline. Might have to consider making a couple changes. Even if they're not trades, they might have to be changes at the very least, line changes or something. See how our rookies are doing. Svetlov. We'll see how Lazzaro has been keeping up pace. 5-3 win against the Avalanche, so that's good. At least we're winning against the good teams, specifically in the Western Conference, but still, I prefer to win all of them. There you go, 7-2 victory against the Blackhawks, which, again, is expected. So we are 40-14-6 going to the trade deadline, February 23rd here. We're going to stop the simulation here, and we will check out all the stats and see what's going on. So one thing that I just noticed as well, that Reimer has not played in this entire stretch. He had 1 game against the Islanders there, but that's the only game he's out on the board so far in the past month. So Reimer will definitely be fresh for the playoffs, that's for sure. That is for sure. Maybe we could have gotten more wins if I had realized that Subban was the one in net. Anyway, let's check goaltenders, speaking of which. So stats, here we go. Goaltender stats. 723 for James Reimer, and a 709 for Malcolm Subban. So he was definitely getting better in that stretch. I guess that's why I didn't really notice too much. Even though we got a few losses in there, it still didn't hurt us too much because, I mean, hey, we're still in first, 86 points in the next the next best team in the Western Conference is the Jets with 79, so we really don't have too much of a reason to worry. We're still in the lead for the President's Trophy. Not too much of a reason to worry. If we were, let's say, 8th and marginally out of the playoffs, then that would have been a bigger deal than it is. But, you know, both of our goaltenders have 20 wins at this point, and 892 save percentage for Reimer, 879 for Subban. As long as they're getting wins, I don't care about their save percentages. And then defensemen, let's see. Average rating, 750 for Jet Wu. Of course, in the 4 games that he's played, he hasn't played since, though. Cam York with a 748. Eric Brandstrom with a 735. Torrey Krug with a 730. Shea Theodore with a 723. Adam Larson with a 722. And Colin Miller, unfortunately, has dropped a little bit. 687 as of recently. He has 20 assists, though. In terms of points, 33 for York, 28 for Theodore, 27 for Larson, 25 for Brandstrom, 23 for Krug, 20 for Miller, and 1 for Wu. Assists, Larson and York are tied for first with 26, and then goals, York has 7. Forwards, average rating, Panarin with a 774, Reichel Polkinen with a 772, Waltteri Lappalainen with a 770, Riley Smith with a 768, Stefan Larson with a 758, Joe Veleno with a 753, Aiden Thompson with a 737, Timo Polkinen with a 736, Jacob Silverberg with a 733, Carl Forrest with a 713, Alan Lazzaro keeping pace with a 702. That is what I like to see out of him. Zach Smith has not played since the last time we checked, which he still is at a obviously 7 average rating with 3 games played. And then Konstantin Svetlov, 696. So he's doing much better as of recent. I believe he was at a 680 at some point. I can't remember when, but I believe he was there at some point. So he's definitely shown consistent improvement. You know, he's gotten points at least once every few games. And a 4-point game there against the Flyers as well earlier on in January. And then a 2-goal game against the Sharks in the last game of the month in January as well. And a couple of goals here in February. So as long as he's showing improvement, I really can't complain from him. He has 38 points as well. And speaking of points, we'll check that now. Riley Smith with 64. Veleno with 61. Panarin with 55. Stefan Larson with 45. Same with Reichel Polkinen and Timo Polkinen. Both the Polkinens getting the same amount of points here. And then Aiden Thompson with 41. Carl Forrest with 40. Waltteri Lappalainen with 40 as well. Konstantin Svetlov with 38. Alan Lazzaro 33. Silverberg 29. So Silverberg hasn't been doing too much point scoring as of recent. But I would imagine he's been good defensively. That means since his average rating's at a 733. And then Zach Smith obviously with 2 points. And then assists, Riley Smith leads with 39. And in goals, Artemi Panarin leads with 27 plus minus. Reichel Polkinen leads with plus 28. The Selke Trophy winner. I would expect no less. So I guess I'll leave it off there. Actually, we'll check the AHL stats. In goals, Niels Blomqvist leads with 25, and then Dwayne Kidry with 21. Assists, Suzuki with 26, Blomqvist with 22. Points, Blomqvist leads with 47, and Kidry with 38, Treloar with 36, Gabby Bishop with 26, Kucera with 21, Landstrom with 20, Kupari with 15 in 24 games, and Quentin Byfield has only played 6 games so far. Maybe we think about sending him down to juniors. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that just so we could get some playing time. That's a smart thing to do. Even though it's pretty late in the season at this point, you know, you can't hurt to send him down there for like a month. Even if he, you know, just plays for the Memorial Cup, you know, that's still some sort of experience for him. And then for the plus minus, Niels Blomqvist plus 26. Shots on goal, 201 for Dwayne Kidry. Wow. And then average ratings, Gabby Bishop, 728. Niels Blomqvist, 723. Travis Treloar, 712. Andre Kucera, 707. Nick Suzuki, 705. And Dwayne Kidry, 7 flat for the ones who are above, or 7 or above. And one final guy who we're going to check on is our goaltender prospect, Joakim Gerton. Want to see how he's doing down there in Red Deer. Let's see. So, 21 games played. He's won 16 times. save percentage of 911, and a goals against average of 228, average rating of 7. So really can't complain from him. Having a solid season down there in the WHL. And yeah, that is about it for this one. So let me know what changes you guys think we should make. And I will see you guys in the next one when we continue past the trade deadline and get into the year 6 playoffs. And yes, I'm saying playoffs because, I mean, we're 40-14-6. 86 points at this point in the season. Unless we lose every game, I don't see us not making the playoffs. See you guys then.